Hello everyone. Last, we are going to finish this chapter by talking about competition and efficiency. In the previous section, we talked about this kind of market equilibrium in the short run and the long run, and the changes of equilibrium in the perfect competition market. However, we only talk about the outcome, the result of market competition. We haven't evaluated market competition, right? Especially from the point of view of efficiency. Then, in the next section, we are going to talk about it is efficient for all resources to use in perfect competition market. Okay? In this section, we have this conclusion that resources are used efficiently when no one can be made better without making someone else worse off. So, in fact, it's some kind of efficient concept as Pareto efficient. In this section, we know that in the perfect competition market, the equilibrium is efficient because in this situation, we find out that the marginal social benefit equals to marginal social cost. Okay? So we can describe this kind of efficient use of resources in terms of choice of consumers and firms coordinated in a market equilibrium. The consumer's choice are given in the consumer's demand curve. It shows that the best budget allocation changes as the price of goods or services change. So all the points along their demand curve, consumers get the most value out of their resources, or sometimes we call it willingness to pay, WTP. If the people who consume the good are the only ones who benefit from the good, the market demand is the marginal social benefit curve. Okay? And also, on the other side, we know that a competitive firm's supply curve shows how profit maximizing quantity change as price of goods or services changes. So all the points along the supply curves, firms get the most value out of their resources. So if a firm that produces the good bears all the costs of producing it, this market supply curve is also the marginal social cost curve. Okay, so that's important. We can describe demand curve as marginal social benefit, and we can describe supply curve as the marginal social cost. Again, we have marginal social benefit and marginal social cost. We are again using the margin analysis, right? Remember, economics make decision at marginal point. Then, by having marginal social cost and the marginal social benefit, we can analyze the equilibrium of competitive market. In a competitive equilibrium, resources are used efficiently because we know that in this equilibrium, the quantity demanded equals to quantity supplied, given the market price. So in that point, marginal social benefit equals to marginal social cost. The gains from trade for consumers is measured. Then we have this kind of measure. The gains from trade for consumer is measured as consumer surplus, CS. The gains from trade for producer is measured by producer surplus, PS. So the total gains from trade equals to total surplus in the long run, which is the sum of producer surplus and consumer surplus. And we know that in the long run equilibrium, total surplus is maximized. We can do this analysis in the following diagram 10.12. In part A, we show the market. Along the downward sloping demand curve, we have D equals to MSB, which is also represent marginal social benefit. Along this curve, consumers are efficient because they get the willingness to pay, the highest amount of product they have. Similarly, along the marginal social supply curve, S equal to MSC, marginal social cost curve, producers are efficient. Then, at the market equilibrium at the intersection point of these two curves, marginal social benefit equals to marginal social cost. Resources are allocated efficiently. So the large triangle below the demand curve and above the equilibrium price is consumer surplus. And the blue area under the equilibrium price of 20 and above the social cost, above the cost curve is the producer surplus. We know that in this diagram, total surplus is maximized. Okay? We can derive the outcome just by having the similar marginal analysis. By the total surplus is maximized, we can derive the outcome by using the similar margin analysis. If the output level is lower than equilibrium level 8, marginal social benefit is higher than marginal social cost. We can increase the total surplus by increased output. Similarly, if the output level is higher than 8, then marginal social cost is higher than marginal social benefit. We can increase the total surplus by reducing output. Okay, so in the part B of figure 10.12, we can find out that initially firms in this kind of market make zero profit. And so every people in this situation, each firm in the market has the plant to enable it to produce at the lowest possible average total cost. So right now, as we said before, the market equilibrium has already resulted in an output choice that make every firm to operate, to produce at its lowest possible output choice. And every firm chose to produce 8 sweaters per day, which is the minimum efficient scale. So from point of view of average total cost, the long run equilibrium still make an efficient outcome. So as a conclusion, in perfect competition market, when equilibrium quantity and equilibrium prices are determined by supply and demand curve, right now marginal social cost equals to marginal social benefit. The total surplus, which is the sum of consumer surplus and producer surplus, is maximized. And every firm now produced at its lowest possible average total cost. This is a very important outcome of the analysis of perfect competition market and will be the benchmark of efficiency for the following analysis in all parts of economics. So this is the end of this chapter. Bye-bye.